Here are my 5 realities of the NBA season. There's going to be people that give you a lot of fake stuff, people that give you a lot of, oh, I want you to talk about this. But this is the 5 realities of the NBA season. Number 5, Dwayne Wade, who was just named the starting shooting guard for the Cavaliers, will not do well this season. Let's understand, Dwayne Wade, I was seeing people call him on Twitter, the Flash is back, starting for the Cavaliers. He is not the Flash. He's not even the son of the Flash. He's not even D. Wade anymore. He's just Dwayne. He's an average shooting guard who is going to play average and is still a history of injuries waiting to happen, and a recurring injuries at that. Let's not take away the fact of he got hurt just last year in Chicago. Who was the best player for the Bulls down the stretch? Obviously it was Jimmy Butler. Who was the second best player? It was Rondo until he got hurt. Dwayne Wade was the third best player on the team with Jimmy Butler and Rajon Rondo. And no offense to either of those two players, but that's not D. Wade. That's not the Flash. That's Dwayne. Dwayne will be average and less than average and get hurt once again this year. Number 4, I'm sorry, LeVar. You're wrong. The Lakers will not make the playoffs, but they will be exciting as hell. They will be the best 100-80 blowout, or the best 120-100 blowout in the league. I think if you are a true fan of the sport, they will be extremely exciting when you see Alonzo Ball, a Brandon Ingram, a Larry Nance. You get to see even Kuzma. There's a bunch of young guys and Julius Randle, that don't make necessarily exciting plays outside of maybe Lonzo's passing, but they are young and exciting as far as building a future. You can be 2 things in this league. You've either got to be good or you got to be exciting. Or you can be the Orlando Magic and you can be boring and unexciting and just you're boring and bad. The Lakers will be bad, but they will be exciting in terms of a basketball perspective. You've got 4 or 5 guys and you only really need to hit on 2, whether it's Lonzo and Ingram, whether it's Lonzo, Julius Randle. Get 2 of these guys to become great players and 1 of these guys to become a good player, and that gives you a basis moving forward. That gives you a platform and something to stand on, and that is something Laker fans, if you want to truly be excited, that's what you're excited about. The games themselves, you live in LA, you live in California, go do something else. Number 3, Chris Paul and James Harden will work. I have a bet with a group of friends, and we think Chris Paul is going to snuff James Harden by like game 8 because James Harden doesn't play defense. But I believe enough in Chris Paul that even though he does come off as an asshole, he is a good enough leader and inspirer to make even James Harden want to play defense. Let's remember, Tyson Chandler, while he had great defensive tools, was not a defensive player before he got to New Orleans. He was let's remember, Tyson Chandler averaged and I know all these guys average crazy points in high school. Tyson Chandler averaged 35 points in high school. He was considered to be an offensive center, and he could even shoot a little bit. With Chris Paul, he became a lob, pick and roll, defensive player of the year caliber type player. David West was not a defensive player. Chris Paul got David West to buy into defense. Morris Peterson was not a defensive player. Chris Paul got Morris Peterson to become a defensive player. I will give you $10 if you even know who Morris Peterson is. Chris Paul almost got J.R. Smith to play defense, and then J.R. Smith got traded. So, not perfect with everybody, but Chris Paul and James Harden will work. They're 2 guys who did you see their stat lines? They put up double-digit assists in 2 of their 4 preseason games. They are playing well together. Their style of play works well together. And James can be what Chris Paul used to be. Whereas Chris Paul used to be able to sit there and take over a game and get you 20 to 30 points and score in the 4th quarter. He's not that guy anymore, but if he is the floor general that he was, and will always be, and you have James Harden as a closer, that works in Houston, especially in that system. I'm calling it right now, and I'm going to expand this a little bit longer, or at a later point in time. Chris Paul could average 15 points a game and 15 assists in that system. And that's amazing. Number 2, we love super teams. You either love to hate them or you love to love them. And the newest super team that we got was the Oklahoma City Thunder. And that is with Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook. And everyone's talking about, including myself, how's it going to work? Will it work? Will it not work? Here's one thing I know. Carmelo Anthony will lead that team in scoring. And here's why I think that. Russell Westbrook, I think, is infatuated with this triple-double notion. And he is a guy who was very stat-conscious. So you take a guy like Russell Westbrook, who's going to want to be around. He's not going to get the same amount of shots. He's going to want to be around 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. That leaves a guy like Paul George, who can get you 20-plus points, who can get you 5-7 rebounds. Paul George probably can even get 22, 23. Melo only really wants to do one thing at this point. Like, he can rebound, yes, but his main priority is going to be getting 25 to 30 points a night. And on that team, I think Paul George defers due to Melo being a veteran and an elite player still. And Russell Westbrook trying to get his triple-double. Meet in the middle. Melo rises to the top in scoring. I understand last night it was 20 for Russ, 19 for George, Melo for 16. But that's a preseason game. When it comes time for especially who needs to score in the fourth quarter, Melo creates the most mismatches in the fourth quarter. He's also 6'8", so he shoots over most guys in case you need a last-second shot. I understand Russ had a good run at the end of last year as far as making clutch shots, but Russell Westbrook is not clutch. Paul George is shown he's not clutch. Melo, statistically, I think, is right behind Dirk in terms of most made shots in the final minute since he came into the league. I'd have to double-check that. I know he was like 2 years ago. I don't know if that number has drastically changed the last 2 years with the Knicks. But at one point, he was the second most clutch player statistically in the league. Carmelo Anthony will lead the Oklahoma City Thunder in scoring. The biggest reality, no one wants to deal with it, but it's just the facts. And I've made my case for why I think there's certain teams that can compete. I think there's certain teams that can knock off. But the reality is, no one can beat the Warriors. No one's close to the Warriors. They're going to run this league for at least 2 more years of almost 70 wins and very easy NBA Finals. I was talking with a friend the other day, and we were like, and I was telling him my case for I think Milwaukee and Washington could dethrone Cleveland in the East. And he was like, well, Cleveland is the best matchup, though, for the Warriors. He's like, everybody else is getting swept. I was like, yeah. But Cleveland almost got swept and really should have probably got swept. And it was a very boring 5-game series outside of you got to see Kevin Durant just show off some otherworldly offensive skills. The Warriors, as much as we hate to say it, they're just better than everyone. And it's not even close. They're like a lot better than everyone. Like, I don't believe you beat the Warriors by playing their style, because you just can't find people who play their style better. You could make a case that they have the top 3 3-point shooters in the league. They for certainly have the top 2. They have the greatest shooter of all time. They have the most complete offensive player in the game right now. And they got a bunch of role players that do exactly what that system requires. This is young San Antonio, people. 70 wins, a 16-1, 16-2 playoffs. Warriors get another title. I don't really care who gets Finals MVP. No one's in their league. They have coaching, talent, better executives, better management. And they're about to move into a new stadium. So you get where people keep talking about, oh, what's going to inspire them? Well, this is your final year in Oracle. That's inspiration. At least when you're on that great. You need little things to inspire you. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Also, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. If you'd like to see more videos, click right here on my chest. And I will see you guys next time.